Boys, at least we got a 4-day test.
Yeah, absolutely. How good was that, Flem?
For
Bit better than bloody 2-day.
For us on a daily rate.
You were sweating on that, weren't you, Flem?
We need that. I could have handled a 5th day.
Absolutely.
I need you guys to negotiate my contracts.
Yeah, we're happy with another 2-day. Same pay, extra 3 days off.
We'll help you out going forward, Flem.
All right, we've got a bit to talk about here. Let's go.
We do.
Got him.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fast Bowling Cartel podcast. My name is Damien Fleming. This is brought to you by Swyftx and VB, and also brought to you by two of the greatest fast bowlers and greatest men of all time, Jason Gillespie, Glenn McGrath. Lads, how you travelling?
Yep, Flem, going well. After another great win by the Aussies, and I think last podcast you guys left me out, so I'm very happy to be back. But anyway, Flem, good to see you. Diz, good to see you,
Pidge. Good to see you, Flem. Lots to unpack, as you mentioned. Flem, it was a test match that nearly went the full 4 days. I reckon we've got a lot to talk about, boys.
Before we get into that, though, the Poms have gone to Noosa, and we know there's a certain member of our fast bowling cartel who owns half of Noosa. So is it correct? Is it correct, Glenn McGrath, that they're basically just staying at your house?
If I owned half a Noosa, if I was a batsman, I probably would own half a Noosa, but I'm a bowler like you guys, so I've just got my little pad there. And, so no, they're not staying with me, but apparently, yes, they are up here.
Obviously, they went 4 days, but it was another disappointing loss for the Poms. And a lot of it's been talked about their batting. I'd like us to start about their bowling, because they have been if you look at their pitch maps, it's like an artist just spraying paint, isn't it? There is a low percentage of balls into that avenue of apprehension. And you see that Stark's been brilliant. We'll talk about him. But Neeser, Boland, and even Doggett, particularly in that second innings, were constantly into that zone. And probably the disappointing ones, I thought Atkinson and Cass would be into that avenue apprehension more. But they were all equally scattergun. And it's almost like they don't own their stock ball. And I know Test cricket, their scoring rates are up. But in Test cricket, you still, as a quick bowler, I think, need to be able to own your stock ball.
Well, Flem and Pidge, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. Is it the bowler's fault if it's either the coaching staff or the captain are insisting on these short ball bowling plans? Surely if that's the case, then the bowlers are just following orders. But, I mean, you're exactly right, Flem. It just feels like if in doubt, let's just spread the field and just bowl short. And I'm not sure, particularly the first 2 test matches, where there's been enough on offer for the fast bowlers on that discipline line and length, off stump, full stump line on a good length. There's been just enough there. And it's actually baffled me, boys. I have to be honest, the tactics and the plans of the English bowlers. That's what I said. Is it the captain and coach? Or is it the bowlers themselves that have come up with these plans?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think Ben Stokes came out and actually said that he sets the fields for the bowlers and probably the bowling plans as well. But I guess they haven't really come out and said that in respect to these were the plans that we're looking to bowl to. I'm thinking, do they have the patience to bowl those areas for long enough, or do they have the ability to execute that on a regular basis? The other thing maybe, they're used to bowling with a Duke cricket ball in English conditions where it nips around. Here they're out in Australia. This pink ball test, after 20, 25 overs, that pink ball went pretty soft and there was not much in it. And to be honest, there wasn't a huge amount of offer once it went really soft. And they bowl a couple of balls and they get bored with that, or things aren't happening. So then they just go to the short ball, or they go to a plan where they're hoping the batsmen get themselves out. And, you look at Australia's first inning batting, it was everyone got into double figures. There was no back-to-back wicket. I suppose Cameron Green and Steve Smith got out in the same over, and there was also a drop catch. But the rest of it, there was a long time between wickets, and whether that's because they can't execute or they get bored and they don't have the patience for long enough.
Yeah, and I mean, us three are all different bowlers as well, but you have your basic stock ball, and generally it's around that 6 to 8 metre mark on off stump or just outside. For bowlers listening that might want to improve their stock ball, I mean, there's pre and post ball routines as well. Like for my stock ball, I tried to look at the sponsor's sign 3/4 the way up for my length. And then if I was having a day that I was bowling too short, I might look at off bail. Or if I was bowling too full, I might look at the base of the stumps. And then also my pre-ball routine, when I halved that run, I got in trouble when I rushed. It was 2 deep breaths, off stump, rhythm, power. They were my 3 core things: stare at the batsman and then plan. So for me, that was sort of my comfort zone to get onto if I started when I couldn't own my stock ball. Firstly, what about you, Diz? Did you have some pre-ball routines and all that to get your stock ball going?
Yeah, I mean, I had I suppose, key markers that I worked on. So I'd have my measured run up, then I'd walk back 6 paces and have a second mark. So that'd be where I'd start. I'd come in, I'd hit my mark with my right foot, and then it was all about, I used the words rhythm and tempo, and it was just, for me, keep arms in tight, rhythm and tempo, from back foot landing to front foot landing to ball release. I wanted to feel tall at the crease, if that makes sense. And which, if I, to use better phrase, I got a big nose. I was able to sort of point my nose towards a target, have all my energy going towards my target, which is that off stump. So it was almost like a wing keel, really. So I was able to go straight through. But for me, tall, keep my wrist and my fingers behind the ball, snap down, and really follow through hard and like bowl the ball onto a good length rather than just look to put the ball there. I wanted to bowl the ball almost as if I wanted to dent the pitch on a good length. I put a divot in the surface, so to basically bowl the ball hard onto the pitch.
Excellent. What about you, Pitch?
Yeah, it is. So if you had a crosswind, did it sort of pull you to the side, or if you just got out a little bit off, it sort of pull you one way or the other?
That was the problem, Pitch. So if you saw me bowl badly, there's every chance there was a crosswind and I was being guided by my nose.
Just like a plane coming in a runway, you have to go 45 degrees into the wind so it doesn't push you. But no, sort of.
Pitch, is that why you made me bowl into the breeze? Because you knew my big nose would just spread the winds.
Yeah, and
50% each way.
Swing bowlers love bowling into the wind. So I've been told. But no, I had routines, and sort of I can relate to sort of Deers and a few things you said too, Flem. But so my run up was 17.2 metres, make a mark 23.3, and make another mark. That's where I started. And that was my run up my whole career. So I'd start at 23.3, slowly build up, hit the 17.2, and then off I'd go. When I got near the crease, it was all about, staying tall as I could. And, sometimes when we try to bowl quick, we really use our bowling arm to force it, to muscle it. And I didn't want to do that. So I just try to stay as tall as I could, and then from as high as I could down. That's where I try to go fast through there. And then, as Diz said, you didn't want to put it there, you wanted to bowl it. So it's all about driving through the crease, finishing your action, and that follow through. So that was my action. My thought processes, routines. So I'd walk back, top my mark, stand at the top, already know what ball I want to bowl. So it's locked in. I don't have to think about it. That little voice in your head, and I'm sure I've said it plenty of times before, just to switch them off, I'd just run in, have a song playing in my mind, singing a song to myself, and it would just help me relax, and then bowl through the action, walk back, think about what ball I'm going to bowl next. So as soon as I turn, it's locked in. I don't have to think again, relax, sing a song, run in and bowl. So that was my routine. I worked out pretty quickly through my career why I had a good day, why I had a bad day. And even when I wasn't feeling good, wasn't coming out well, I just focused on why I had a good day. And the difference is when I was bowling well, we don't really think about it. We think about where we want to bowl that ball, see it carrying through to the keeper, taking the edge, whatever. When we're having a bad day, we're thinking about how we're going to bowl it. We're thinking about technique, pull down, follow through, run it, the technical things.
Yeah.
So I just got rid of the technical things, said I'll work on that in the nets, I'll relax, follow my normal routine and focus on where I want that ball to land. And I never looked at a spot like you, Flem. It was just a feel, complete feel. That length was locked in, run in and bowl. And so those things sort of helped me. And the other thing, if I wasn't feeling good, you could go off and watch some footage in between breaks when you're playing, first class and international cricket. Or I'd have a chat to Gilly. I say, Gilly, how's my action look? He might have a look at it next over and go, pitch looks the same as always. And that just helped reinforce it. So routines are very important. Thought processes, and just relax and run in and bowl that ball.
Absolutely brilliant. And you actually, I remember as well, I used to use the keepers, Heels and Gilly.
Yep.
I used to get in trouble when I closed myself off too much. So I said to the keepers, if I'm doing that, can you say, get down to me, Flemmo? So that was a coaching thing to go, I've got to clear that front leg again so I can get my back leg through. So keepers can help you out. Captains can help you out as well. So where do you sit on Stokes always setting the field? Like for me, we had dominant captains and great captains, but there was always a little bit of, I think, democracy within that. And you've got to be comfortable with your fields, isn't it? If they put out the deep point so early these days, that if someone plays with a soft hand, it's a single. If you're not comfortable with that, you'd hope you could tell the captain to go back myself. I want to get dot balls there. But it seems like the bowlers don't have any say.
Yeah, it appears that way. They've decided they've got a plan, whether it's driven by the coach and captain, which it seems like it is, and the bowlers are just there to do their job. I think I'm with you, Flem. I think you need a little bit of democracy there, and I've always thought a captain really only needs to ask a bowler one question: how are you trying to get the batter out? And that will then dictate what field settings are required. And I think bowlers should have a real say in that, because after all, they're the ones bowling it. They're the ones coming up with formulating their plans. They know the lines they're trying to bowl. They know the lengths they're trying to bowl. So for me, that there needs to be some ownership from the bowlers in that space.
Yeah, no, I'm behind you there, Diz. It's interesting. I think when you first come into the team, you want to get the captain's faith in you as a bowler. So it's a bit 50-50. I always thought, okay, I'll bowl whatever field you set, I'll bowl to it, or I'll set the field I want to bowl to and bowl to it as well. So it's about having faith in yourself that you can deliver, you can execute the plan that the team wants or the plan that you've come up with. So that's first and foremost. If you can't execute a plan, then it's pointless changing it because it's not going to make any difference. So new people want to get the confidence of the captain, and when you get that, then they'll have more faith in you to set the fields you want. And I always say to young bowlers and bowlers that are just coming in the team, when you see that captain pad up in the nets and he's playing in the nets or she's playing in the nets, be the bowler to bowl to him and bowl as well as you can and really make it as hard as possible, because then in turn that gives that captain confidence that you're a bloody decent bowler.
Well, it might get you picked too if you keep knocking over the captain. I love that philosophy, and it was sort of said a bit around the street. Last one on the English bowling. Two-part question a bit too, because it does mean the coach. Brendan McCullum, I think, stunned the cricketing world after the loss and said he felt like, about their preparation, that they overtrained. This is a bowling attack that looks like is bowling the way you would think, who have not played any cricket. I think Atkinson's the only one that's played a little bit of county cricket. So one response to McCullum's unbelievable quote, and the second one is, how much confidence can you really get in bowling in the nets as opposed to a game?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I just think the bowlers. I think you're exactly right, Flem. Gus Atkinson's the only one that's bowled match overs since August or something like that, which I find absolutely staggering. McCullum's comment about if anything we overtrained, I think where that doesn't sit well with people is that England had an opportunity to train or to play under lights in Canberra. And yes, okay, the surface was slightly different in Canberra. The conditions, the temperature was a bit less than what they were going to encounter in Brisbane. But I would argue that they didn't seem to mind playing at Lilac Hill in a lead up to the fast, bouncy Perth Stadium surface. So that would be my question. But why wasn't the Perth Stadium booked and well in advance? Because England management came out, they've said they've been preparing for this series for 3 years. It would stand to reason one of the first things you would do leading into a series is get specific preparation for what you're going to play on in the first test. India did it. India had 8 days and they basically owned the whacker, had the centre wicket, had the nets, they did all that. So I'd be interested to know when England requested the various facilities. Look, I just think that comment by McCullum, in a funny kind of way, I can understand it because they foregoed the practice game, the 2-day game in Canberra. So then that gave them more time after a 2-day test to actually do some preparation. So 5 hard days of training, that is actually a lot between test matches, even though the first test was cut short. That's still a fair amount of training. So I can understand that comment, but it doesn't necessarily stand up when they foregoed that 2-day practice game in Canberra. I saw Josh Tongue and Matthew Potts all get 20 sets of overs in that situation under lights, and that they looked like they were ready should they be required to be called up.
Yeah, no, it's you can overtrain in the net, and especially leading up to that. I guess Brisbane's pretty warm, and it wasn't as humid as what it had been the previous week, which was probably a bit of a godsaver there for him, a lifesaver for him. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how much you train in the nets. It's not the same as getting overs in your legs out in the middle. It's a complete different intensity. Bowling overs in a match. First, you can train for months and months leading into the first game of the season, and that first game of the season, you'll still pull up stiff and sore because it's a different intensity. So they need overs under their belt in games. So maybe that's why that game in Canberra would have been important to get those overs under, in their legs. But they've got no excuses going to Adelaide now, have they? They bowled plenty of overs in Brisbane, so. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But overtrain in the nets, do too much, and you're not sort of fresh come that first day of the test match. It's possible.
I also think, guys, just jumping in, match overs, it's not only just the match overs, but it's actually standing and moving around in the field. Like we call it a day in the dirt, don't we? It doesn't matter. Do all the pre-season training you want, Pidge, but that first day of the dirt, you do pull up a little bit stiff, a little bit sore. And also, I'm a big believer in making them first-class fixtures because when it's going on your stats, the bowlers will put the time and effort in and work hard, just like batters as well. If it's just a glorified centre wicket, it essentially turns into a centre wicket and a glorified net. So I like 3-day games, 3 or 4-day games. They're first class fixtures. That for me, that's the best prep.
And the other thing, I'll just jump in there as well, Tiz. I think all the Aussie boys and probably the English and all international, they wear that little GPS, and heart rate monitors and everything else. So firstly they can test the intensity you're training, playing at, but it also records how far you travel in a day. And they say the guys bowling 20 to 25 overs a day are travelling more than 30 kilometres. So if you're training in the nets, you're not travel anywhere near that. So you're right with what you say. It's not just the bowling. It's running around the field and everything else that adds to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rob Key's the director of cricket there. I mean, 12 months ago, they would have mapped this out. And, there was so much time before the first test, in between the first, second, or third. They could have got three-day games in.
No question.
And they've chosen a different route. I mean, that's on them.
Maybe
Some sad news.
Or maybe Flem beforehand. Maybe they're not getting carts when they play golf. Maybe they're walking to get the under their
Get the time on the legs, PG.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I actually have heard that, and I don't mind it, because I think the only thing that does replicate walking in the field is walking a golf course. They card up a lot there too. And just the last bit of sad news: Josh Hazlewood, Mark Wood, who we wanted to see in this series, are both out. Big Hoff now. I mean, I think he's had one Test summer in 5 in Australia. And Mark Wood, they should never have picked him. He was never right.
Yeah, I agree. They shouldn't have picked Mark Wood. He was never right. And, I mean, how many overs did he bowl in Perth? He wouldn't have bowled more than 10 overs. So that knee was never going to stand up to the rigours of Test cricket. He's been out of Test cricket a long time. And you have to question whether he can make another comeback. I mean, he's 36 years of age. It's going to be tough for him, in my opinion. And with Josh, the big Hoff, we love him, love watching him go about his work, and it's heartbreaking for him. It's gutting for him. He's pretty upset, pretty gutted, but he'll dust himself off and get himself right and make himself. Hopefully, he can be available for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. It is. For Hoff, it's tough. It started with a hamstring. What's it now? Achilles, or there's a few different things. So unfortunately for him, hopefully he's using the time well to get back strong. And it's a real blow for him. And for Woody, I love Woody. I love the way he runs it. He just gives 100% every single ball he bowls. He's got such a big heart, and you're right. Once those knees go, and how he pounds in, I don't know how you can come back and Test cricket. Bowling 20 overs a day, I don't know how he's going to get through that physically.
No. It's a high attrition rate, and to get even to your mid-30s is unbelievable.
How good were the Aussie bowlers in Brisbane? I thought they were absolutely fantastic.
Outstanding.
Which leads me in to the Golden Longneck Award presented by VB to the hardest working bowler. Now, there were a couple of options there, but I'm going for Brisbane, Queenslander, Michael Neser. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. The way he went about his work, disciplined lines, disciplined lengths in stark contrast to what we saw from the English. We did see a little bit of the bouncer plan stuff for Australia, and I want to give a special mention to Brendan Doggett, because he was the one that was tasked with that duty for Australia. He charged in. I had a chat to him after the Test match, and he was saying how it does tire you out, actually, just coming in with old bounces all the time, and just judging where to land the ball on the pitch to make sure it's not a wide or it's not short enough. So I wanted to make a special mention to Brendan Doggett, but I loved Michael Neser's work, the hardest working fast bowler, Golden Longneck Award presented by VB. I thought he was excellent. We saw an absolute masterclass from Alex Carey up to the stumps. I think the TV graphics showed Michael Neser coming around the wicket, bowling long penetrating spells to Ben Stokes with Alex Carey up to the stumps. It was keeping Stokesy in his crease, and they actually showed it was literally a small towel on the wicket, a pitch map on the wicket, and Michael Neser just kept hitting that over and over and over again, and I just thought it was absolutely superb.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Diz. I thought all the Australian bowlers had their own roles to play. Doggett, you said, was short ball. Scotty Boland was just hitting those lengths, nipping it around. Starkey is just brilliant again. But Michael Neser, what he did to pick up Pfeiffer, absolutely brilliant. He's played 3 tests, all day-night tests, so they say horses for courses. But what was harder for Pearl Ness was the keeper up to the stumps. Being a fast bowler, there is nothing worse than the keeper coming up to the stumps.
It's a bit of an ego blow, isn't it?
So you see the keeper comes up. First thought is bouncer down leg side, maybe even a bean ball, just to unsettle the keeper. But once you sort of, okay, it's for the team, it's for the team. But
that's right.
No, he was brilliant. Just the lengths he bowled, and like you said, an absolute masterclass from Alex Carey. That's as good at keeping that I've seen up to the stumps. It kept Stokes in his crease. He couldn't go at the ball or couldn't go down or just change the lengths of the bowlers of Nisa. And I think that brought about his downfall in the end. And Pfeiffer, Ness getting Pfeiffer was absolutely brilliant.
Totally agree. Yeah, that Ness was just awesome. And when they got off to a flyer in the second innings, we thought, here they go, Crawley and Duckett. I think it was Doggett and Nisa that got a bowling partnership together to close them down. And Alex Carey mentioned that after the day's play. So I thought it was, and Bolo bowled really well on the last day. So I just thought it was a great team effort. And let's just reflect a bit more. Alex Carey, I commentated with Ian Healy, and normally keepers, they like to really critique the modern day wicket keepers. They don't like giving them a lot of love. I reckon it started at Rod Marsh to Heels and, to Paney and to Gilly and all that. But everyone was in absolute raptures about Alex Carey. Brilliant with the bat, but I just thought up to the stumps and put the pressure on. And you add in the fielding. What about the catching of Smith? And then what about the run out of Inglis? Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was superb, wasn't it? Josh Inglis, that was a key run out. The England captain just at the right time because he was looking quite ominous, Ben Stokes. He was playing quite nicely. Key moment. Alex Carey, Steve Smith, they were some of the most fantastic catches. That one to dismiss Will Jacks on day 4, that low to his left, with Alex Carey up to the stumps as well, mind you. I thought that was just absolutely magnificent. And you could tell how pumped up Steve Smith was. He knew that was a big moment in this whole series, and it proven to be correct.
Yeah, no, in the field, incredible. The Aussies, I don't think they missed one. But then you look at England, we've had a go at their batting, we've had a go at their bowling, but they dropped 5 catches. And you wonder the impact that would have had on the game. I think when they dropped Heady there early on when Smith dropped him, that was like a key moment because, I think Travis then realised, bang, switched on, and then off the Australians went. So that was a massive key moment. You can't drop 5 catches and expect to compete on top of everything else. And the Australians definitely showed them how fielding should be done at the top level.
And even the Aussies say it's hard to pick up at night. And these England players haven't played any day-night cricket. If only they'd had a Prime Minister's 11 to play.
If only they'd had an opportunity to play, Flem,
Not just batting and bowling, it is fielding. At night. It's an absolute nightmare. You know what is a nightmare? We've got a little segment here that has got the cricketing world on the back foot because if there's any contradiction, if there's anyone big noting themselves, anyone just basically getting it wrong, it is the Jason Gillespie, give me a spell.
My favourite.
Go, Diz.
Thanks, Flem. Thanks, Pid. Strap yourselves in, boys.
Here we go. Got the
glasses on. Right, I'm going to start. I've actually got 4 today. There's a bit to unpack, boys. And I'll get through these quite quickly. First one, and look, I don't like being critical of an FBC, Fast Bowling Cartel person, but I'm going to have a little dart at Jofra Archer. He was bowling, operating in the low to mid 130s for the first innings of the Test match. Comes in with Australia needing, well under 100 runs, and he decides to start cranking it up to 150 clicks, and then he starts getting in a verbal stoush with Steve Smith. Where was this in the first innings, boys? Jofra, give me a spell. Do your work up front. Do it when it matters, not in the after event. Give me a spell, Joff. Disappointing.
Hey, Diz, I reckon Smithy said, give me a spell when it was sailing for 6.
He was too. He hit a couple of nice shots, didn't he, Smarge? He just wanted to get it done, get the game over with. Yeah. So that was brilliant. Right, now, I've heard a bit of a whisper, boys, I probably need this confirmed, but I've heard Cricket Australia Bay 13 tickets being sold to the Barmy Army.
Yeah, yes.
Give me a spell, CA. What's going on there? What the heck is going on? That's a disgrace.
Yeah, disgraceful discipline.
You know what I want in Bay? You know what I want in Bay 13, douche? Just 2,000 Merv Hughes lookalikes.
Oh, wouldn't that be just Christmas?
And the Poms look behind and give it your moustaches and all that. You know, ladies, kids, everyone.
That's what we need. Like we need to get someone to start it, because someone started the Richies many years ago. Maybe we need someone to start the Mervs in Bay 13. So, well, anyway. But, yeah.
Give me a spell.
Give me a spell. Now, an old Ashes adversary of ours, Pidgey, Geraint Jones.
Okay.
He's got his own podcast, boys. Now, he's
Where do
suggested...
these guys get off making all these podcasts?
I don't know.
They're so 2021.
Geraint Jones has made the suggestion that when Pat Cummins is fit, he doesn't necessarily walk back into this Australian side. Can you believe that? This is a guy with 309 test wickets at 22.10 with a strike rate of 45.91. Of all Australian bowlers who got over 200 test wickets, he's got the lowest strike rate and the second lowest average. He's the Australian captain. Give me a spell, Geraint.
Give me a spell.
What a load of nonsense. What a load of nonsense. And just the final one, boys. I can't help. I saw a bit of this is one of my favourite people, one of the favourite opponents. Great guy for England. He's the assistant coach of the England team. Marcus Trescothick fronted the media. You could probably have a bit of a go at England management for not fronting the media, sending out. It's easy to send out an assistant coach, isn't it? But he insisted that, and maybe he's just towing the party line, but he's insisting that no conversations as a batting unit have been happening about driving on the up in Australia on fast, bouncy surfaces. I cannot believe that. Give me a spell, Trez. Batting coach, coaches, what are you doing then? If you're not having conversations about how to get better and play the conditions and the surfaces out in Australia, what are you doing here? Give me a spell. Dizzy out, boys.
Very good. That last one with Trez, I think he was telling the truth, because how many batsmen are trying to drive on the up? And they're getting out. They're consistently getting out. Maybe it's time they actually did have a chat about it.
It's incredible, isn't it?
He'd give us a rating of that. Give me a spell. I think that's all time from our mate Douche.
I thought it would be just the whole podcast would be just Dizzy. Give me a spell. And I have to support him. I thought Jofra firing up when the game's finished. Smudge gave it to him. Apparently, punter in the commentary box was sledging as well. I heard he used the term champ, so he was firing up as well.
Champion.
Well, champion was used by Smudge, but punter used, buddy, champ. He was firing up. And then, Bay 13, like seriously, and then Trez. And then Geraint. If Ben Stokes was making a comeback after an injury, would he have to go through county cricket first? Seriously. But yes, Diz, well done. Brilliant, mate.
Thanks, boys.
And one thing I love is they're just making it so easy for you, Diz.
Mate, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Easy. Too many options.
Too many options.
I tell you what, luckily we've got a new segment as well. Because of modern technology, we're going to look back at some retrospective DRS LBWs. Now, we don't have Hawkeye for this one, but we're going to get them involved. But where we're going to go back, look at some appeals from years gone by, give a nod out, and with the hindsight of technology these days, we will make a decision and we will add those wickets potentially to total. So a random one to start was a guy called, I don't know if you remember this guy, Jason, Glenn McGrath, touring Pakistan, I think it was in 1998, bowling to Inzamam al-Haq. You haven't seen the footage. For me, I don't even know why he's appealing, but let's have a look.
Right.
shout. That's the one they wanted. And no response from umpire Nazir Jr. It was the shuffling across the crease. It was the ball that beat the bat. And no movement at all from the umpire.
A very good shout from the Australians on that occasion, and I can't help but think that the LBW rule's been cancelled for this game, David Hooks, because that was a very, very good shout.
No LBWs in this game so far. And another shout, 2 in a row by the Australians, and McGrath can't believe it. Not as much aggression from behind the stumps on that occasion as the previous delivery, but McGrath really has got it all together at the moment.
And that is a very good shout again from the Australians. I mean, I know it's easy to call on TV, David Hooks, but gee, that looks close.
Both very, very close shouts. That's the first one. And they're the ones on a flat track that you need as a bowling side. So what can McGrath do here for Australia? And that hurts. McGrath gave Inzamam a bit to go on with as he went past him. That's fair enough. But Inzamam has answered in the way that he knows best. McGrath shakes his head and will somehow retrieve his cap from the umpire. He's asking the reasons why. Take your cap, Glenn. And he's done it right. 2 for 277.
Oi! Diz, what do you think about those ones? Should he have been appealing for that?
You'd almost just expect it just to be given straight away. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. How were they not given out, Pidge?
I don't know. That was a game plan for Inzy. You know, when he walks out full at the stumps because he's still half asleep. And, yeah.
Get a nice reverse swing there.
A bit of reverse. It was trying to remember that test, Flem. Was that the one where Tubb got 334?
Yeah.
So it's a flat track, like flat track.
Yes.
Yeah. And, yeah, and I'm doing the teapot. I can't believe the first one. It's probably missing leg and probably missing off as well.
Missing off.
It's not going over. It's not going over.
And then the next one, exactly the same. And then, what probably made it worse was the third one. He smoked through the covers. You saw it smoke through the covers for 4, which really helped my attitude and my temperament at that time. And I'm standing there.
Really pleased you handled it so well.
Did you say something to the umpire? Did you ask what was happening, or did you?
He's trying to give me my cap, and I'm not taking it. And yeah, he gave me nothing. Gave me nothing at all, and just off he went. So yeah, so DRS. And it's funny, I've had quite a few young fellas come up over the years and say, I always go back. The funniest thing I've seen of you bowling at Inzy, those LBWs in Pakistan. So, yeah, you can watch it, and my reaction is funny. And then even Tubby comes down to me and asks what the umpire said. And, yeah, I remember it as if it was yesterday. And what was that, 98? 27 years ago. So, but, yeah, when you look back, yeah, you take the good with the bad, though that one was a little bit tough to take.
It always looked like Inzy was smiling, particularly after the second one. He knew he was out, and he probably knew he was not going to be given out.
Well, apparently the stats, Javed Miandad never got out LBW in Pakistan, and Inzy, he probably felt the same. There's nobody gets out in LBW.
Okay, now it's time for the assessment there. Can you appeal, Diz? Pigeon? And Diz and I will make our decision on those 2 LBs.
How's that? The first one, dead. Absolutely dead. If you listen to AB, and I think Hooksy as well, AB, first one out. And he reckons the second one was even more out. But anyway.
Okay, second one.
The second one.
Yeah. So
I'll give her that as well.
How many Test wickets did you get?
Well, you can't add 2 for that because it's a one batsman.
No, you're adding 1. So what are you? How many have you got now?
So I finished on 563.
There you go.
There we go. Perfect.
Actually, should I tell my little Lindsay story here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which one? Let me tell you, if you're sitting at home and you've got a spare 45 minutes, you're wondering what to do, you're feeling a bit flat, watch Inzamam or Huck's run-outs online, about 45 minutes. They are brilliant. And Flem, I think you feature in one of them, probably the best one out of the lot.
Back though, this will make you feel better about your 2 LBW shouts. I got Inzamam out twice in Pakistan, twice for Ducks, twice LBW.
Ooh.
But yeah, if you get that, go Inzamam YouTube run-outs, and I think I am the first one. I hit him in the foot, didn't I, in a World Cup game, and he started to run, and Akram runs past him, and when Inzi can't get there, he sort of looks at the umpire, doesn't he, as if, oh, well, I've got a sore foot, you can't give me out. It's something like that, isn't it?
I think you hit Inzi on the foot, on the toe. He takes 2 steps out and falls and lies on the ground. And Woz thinks it's a run, so he's bolting, and I think all Lindsay did was reach back and just get his bat back in the crease while lying on the ground, and Wozzy runs past and he's not quick enough, and Pro Woz has run out. It's brilliant.
So make sure you do that. That'd be great. Hey, now we've got some great sponsors on board here, and Swyftx, excellent, and their little mantra, their little segment they love is the All-Rounders Index. I think I nailed it last week, but I'm actually struggling a bit this week.
Are you?
I think Starkey, Pidge. What do you reckon?
Starkey batting 9. Didn't he go past someone who had the highest? Was it for Australia or was it for Ashes?
In an Ashes test at the Gabba. I think we unpacked that last week. Pidge, do you remember who it was?
Yeah, what was his name? Fleming? Damien Fleming, our co-host.
Now, Mitchell Stark was on our podcast. Mitch, I've only got about 2 batting records. Can you just let me have one? And the only thing I will say, boys, I was not out. I was 71 not out. So there must be something in that.
No, it's not the highest score, Flem.
And I didn't take 9 wickets either.
No.
You were 71 not out. Who got out on you at the other end?
It was Glenn McGrath. You cost me. What did you get tugged
Everyone gets a good delivery. Everyone gets a good ball every now and then.
You tried to slog sweep, who was it? Robert Croft out of the Gabba.
It was there. I just missed it.
It was there to be hit. Just quickly, we know Stark is. I thought he was even better in this test because there was no wobbled scene. So his accuracy and his early wickets, there wasn't a lot of swing over there. His batting, he actually showed England had a bat. There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
They certainly learnt their lessons, England, because we saw Ben Stokes and Will Jackson on that day 4. They were showed by Mitchell Stark, Scotty Boland, how to go about it. And it was very strategic. I thought it was very smart by Australia to stay out there as long as possible, knowing that they can get the new pink ball as close to later in the evening as possible. It was such smart play, such good strategy by the Australians, and that was a long way towards winning that test because then Australia went out and got all those wickets in that evening session.
Exactly, and
that night session.
It just goes to show that England haven't played a lot of day-night test cricket, and strategically they were left. I think day 1 they should have declared and had 40 minutes at the Australians. That could have changed things.
Yep.
But there was no intensity to get those last 4 wickets on the morning of day 3. They just kept dragging it out. And the intensity level of their bowling was rubbish. And that cost them in the end. They lost 6 wickets that evening. And it just...
They made it easy for Mitchell Stark, but he played... I mean, Boland hardly faced a ball for about 90 minutes and he batted for 2.5 hours. So Mitch Stark, the Swyftx. all-rounders index player of the second test. Now, make sure you sign up and verify with Swyftx to get $20 in Bitcoin, available for new customers only. See where crypto can take you with Swyftx. Promo code, I love this one, FBC20. You can find the link in the episode description. Boys, what about going towards Adelaide? We'll get another pod in between, but what are you thinking that the teams will do? Cummins and Lyon are virtually in. Who's coming out? And then for England, what sort of possible changes do you see?
Yeah, so for the Aussies, with Cummo and Lino coming back in, unfortunately, the guys missing out would be, Michael Neser and Brendan Doggett. It's harsh, isn't it? Those guys played such a big part in Brisbane. But the captain and the Nathan Lyon, he's closing in on that, moving into the second posse on most Test wickets by an Australian bowler. So we'll see how we go there. And I think
you're just giving it away. You're working behind the scenes.
Yes, I've been chatting to the selectors.
You dropped gas.
I've told them that I don't think Adelaide's going to turn. It's just there's nothing in it for this.
Izzy, did you even think about this? I didn't even think about this.
I must admit, I'm just thinking about it now. It all makes sense, Flem. It all makes sense.
I have no say.
The president is working behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
No. He didn't play in Jamaica either. Yeah. And he'll play in Adelaide and then he won't play again. Jeez,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I would bring Nathan Lyon back in, just for the record, and Pat Cummins. I would keep the top order as it is. So Travis Head and Jake Weatherald opening, unfortunately for Usman, for Uzi. Yeah. Not in this test.
Yeah. I'm with you, Pidge, with the batting order. I don't think it needs to be changed. The only one I'd potentially throw in, and I know he's outside of the squad of 15, is Nathan McSweeney. He got a double 100 against the England Lions. He seems to have been just put on the outer at the moment. I think he's a long-term option for Australia in that middle order, potentially at 5. We'll see where that lands. But I think Inglis will play, and I think the only way I'll see Uzi coming back in is if he bats in the middle order. So we'll wait to see what happens there. But from the bowling, I'm kind of a slightly different. I think the team will be exactly what you said, Pidge. But I just wonder if there's going to be a conversation about maybe playing Michael Neser and leaving Scott Boland out so that Scott Boland's fresh for Melbourne and Sydney. He can play those back-to-back tests. Michael Neser can bowl quite effectively in Adelaide. He gives the Australians a bit more depth with the batting, and he's very effective in those conditions. It looks after Scott Boland as well. Paddy Cummins back in, Nathan Lyon back in. But I do agree. I think, unfortunately, Doggett looks the likely one to miss out.
I think they've added Jai Richardson to the squad as well.
He's actually training as well, which is great to see him back playing. He's a wonderfully talented bowler.
Yeah, I can see that. Someone mentioned Scott Boland to Andrew McDonald, and he sort of brushed it aside a little bit because there's a big gap there. And then for England, I think they need someone who can, as we were talking about at the start, to bowl a stock ball to actually build some pressure. So if that's Potts, we know Ton can bowl a really good wicket-taking delivery, but they've sort of got cast there, or do they make 2 changes with the quicks?
I think Tung comes in. I saw him. I was down at the PM's 11 game in Canberra, that 2-day pink ball fixture that we were discussing before. Josh Tung bowled quick on a pretty benign surface under the lights. I mean, it didn't impact in the wicket column, but he bowled with genuine airspeed. And he bowls wicket-taking balls. Sometimes he can bowl the odd bad ball, but he can bowl genuine wicket-taking balls. So he must come into the conversation. And for a bit of control, I'd be open if I was England management, I'd be open to looking to bring Matthew Potts in because he is a disciplined line and length bowler, bowls brisk enough, but bowls long, penetrating spells. So he could be someone that they would think about. As for batting, they've really only got Jacob Bethel as their spare batter in the squad. Asa Tribe, the young Glamorgan batsman, got 100 for the England Lions against Australia A. Could he be drafted in from outside the squad? But then who do you drop? England this management have been they pick and stick, don't they? Which is an enduring quality, but geez, they need some return on their investment with some of these England batsmen.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I don't disagree with you there with with Potts and Tongue. I think Atkinson was supposed to be the one that just bowled those good areas and build pressure that way. Unfortunately for him, it hasn't worked. So maybe Potts comes in for him. Cast bowled a lot of overs and he got a few wickets, but went for plenty. So whether they make a couple of changes there. The big thing for me with England is they've finally come out now and admitted that their plan's not working. So it's going to be different for Adelaide, I reckon. It has to be.
And let's hope they get their preparation right, England, and at least use some sunscreen up there in Noosa. I don't want them sunburned. Their preparations let them down. The first two tests, I can see them getting sunburned up there while they're drinking beers and playing golf.
Well, you've got to switch off.
You've
got to switch off, especially when you played so badly. Get that out of the system and start fresh. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Talk about switching off, that stumps for us. I want to say, I tell you what, we're getting a lot of views on YouTube and download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts there. And we're trying to reply to a lot of the comments all around the world. We even get some likes from the English people who are enjoying our podcast. So keep them coming, like and subscribe. Give us any ideas of guests that you want to have on. We'll certainly try to do that. But this is the Fast Bowling Cartel. Well done, Pigeon. Well done, Diz.
See you, boys.
Well done,
See you, boys.